Alien is a 1979 horror sci-fi classic that stars Sigourney Weaver, Tom Skerritt, John Hurt, Yaphet Kotto, Ian Holm, Veronica Cartwright, and Harry Dean Stanton, and is directed by Ridley Scott and written by Dan O'Bannon. Alien is about a group of space truckers that are traveling back to Earth when they detect a distress signal from a nearby planet. They sat down to check it out when one of the crew members, Kane, played by John Hurt, finds some strange eggs. One of them opens and a strange parasite called a facehugger latches onto his face. Returning to the ship, and after a few days, he seems to be fine. But that's only the beginning of the nightmare that would befall this crew. I remember the first time I watched Alien. I was probably about 15 years old. And I was blown away. I was so into this movie, man. Like, I just wanted to watch it again and again and again. Alien is one of my all-time favorite horror movies, so I figured with Alien Covenant coming out this weekend, I'd talk about all 4 of the Alien movies and Prometheus leading up to Alien Covenant. Just FYI, I'm not going to review the AVP movies because of the simple fact that I haven't reviewed Predator yet, and I don't really have the time to review Predator this week. And so I figured I'll just save those till the new Predator movie comes out next year, so I'll talk about them then. But I will be reviewing the other ones. Oh, and before I start, real quick side note. This review is going to contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen Alien, first of all, why the hell not? It's a great movie. But second of all, if you haven't, do yourself a favor and go see it. And stop this review because I am going to spoil this movie. Because it's an old movie. I want to talk about the spoilery stuff that happens, but I also don't want to be an ass. So, if you haven't seen the movie, just shut this video off, go see it, because it is really good. Now, in the 1970s, sci-fi wasn't a really lucrative genre. Yeah, you had movies like the Planet of the Apes movies that made money, and 2001 that was seen as a pretty sizable hit. But other than that, sci-fi was an underground genre. Now, that all changed in 1977 when, of course, Star Wars came out and broke new ground for the sci-fi genre. And afterwards, you had studios clamoring to grab any sci-fi script that they had lying around or anything they could grab. Including Foxways. Yes, they did distribute Star Wars, but hey, they wanted to distribute another one. Makes sense. And they just so happened to have this script for Alien written by a guy named Dan O'Bannon. Dan O'Bannon had actually worked on sci-fi before, a few years before Alien. He'd written a script for a movie called Dark Star, which was actually John Carpenter's directorial debut. John Carpenter, of course, went on to direct Halloween, The Thing, They Live. A lot of great movies. He's actually one of my favorite directors. But anyway, I digress on that. He wanted to basically take the idea in Dark Star, which was an alien attacking people in space, kind of loosely, and make it better, basically expound on it. And so he wrote the script for Alien. Initially, he intended this movie to be a Roger Corman production, which would have meant it would have been on the cheap side. It wouldn't have been, you know, with big-named actors or a big-name director or anything. They would have no chance of that. Probably not even big distribution. It would have been a low-rent, maybe cult film at the time, like a lot of other monster movies that were coming out pre-Star Wars. So he didn't really have a lot of aspirations for it beyond that. He figured it'd be good, obviously, but, you know, he wasn't expecting it to be a classic like it became, obviously. Then they found Ridley Scott, and he had just done a movie called The Duelist, which is his directorial debut. A very different film, from what I understand. I haven't actually seen this, I must admit, but I want to. It's Ridley Scott. I do want to check it out. Basically, it's not similar at all, from what I understand, to Alien, but they figured his eye, you know, for cinematography and whatnot would be a good asset for this film, and they were freaking right. Another asset I must mention while talking about Alien, because I can't not mention this. H.R. Giger, his name is synonymous with Alien, and for those who don't know who H.R. Giger is, he was an artist who lived in, I believe, Switzerland. I just did some research on this, but I might be getting the country wrong, but whatever. Anyway, he was an artist who did these really cool, like, dark, twisted, but also beautiful art drawings of basically other worlds, creatures, aliens, whatever his mind could come up with. And it's fascinating stuff. But yeah, if you're at all interested in, like, the way the art design looks in this movie, stuff like the alien creature, of course, but also the space jockey that they find on the spaceship when they land to, you know, check out where the signal's coming from. all that stuff was him. And it's a hell of a great design. It adds a lot to this movie. It lends itself to a really gritty feel for this movie that I absolutely love. I love the design of this alien creature. The fact that it's just like these jaws and there's no eyes, and that just makes it look creepy. It's like it's just we don't know for sure, but it's like it's just sensing where to go. Like a bat almost, or I know bats have eyes, but obviously they use sonar to go around, to fly around and whatnot. It's almost like it's doing that. And it's got like, you know, it's just these creepy jaws and then this little mouth that just comes out and bites at you. And that is terrifying looking. It's a really cool design that H.R. Giger made. And I love that for this movie. It's really unique. And it's just, God, it's so perfect for this movie. But yeah, I mean, if it weren't for all these pieces coming together, I don't think this movie would be nearly as great. And another thing I need to mention as well, Ridley Scott was not a sci-fi fan at the time. Which is funny because he's known as like this guy that reinvented sci-fi, you know, with Blade Runner and Alien. But truthfully, he didn't like sci-fi where it had been at this point. He wanted to make this movie more like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is a movie he really admired. You know, saying, just having this be characters in a closed-off situation being hunted down one by one. And it being really suspenseful and scary if you do it right. One of the things that's really great about this movie that rises it above other horror sci-fi movies is the innovation of having it be where this creature comes onto the ship and none of the characters realize what's really going on via the face hugger on John Hurt. And first of all, that face hugger is freaking creepy. Every time I watch that scene where he's leaning over the egg, even though in my mind, obviously I know what's going to happen because I've seen this movie so many times, it still kind of gets me a little bit. It gives me a little jolt. I mean, that's just a terrifying idea, isn't it? This alien creature, this parasite, latches onto someone's face and basically impregnates them. And this thing grows inside their chest until it one day, a couple days later, bursts out and then quickly grows to a large size and starts to attack people. I just love the design of this thing, and it's so cool how it is able to like defend itself, and it just adds so much tension there. Because it's just, the best horror movies is that one where it can take away all the safety measures, all those stuff that like, if they could just do this, they're fine. Here, you know, they try prying it off, but it has like this tail that's wrapped around John Hurt's neck, and it just slowly starts to suffocate him. And that's scary. Like, that's something that's like, okay, this idea didn't work. Well, maybe if we try cutting it off. Turns out it has acid for blood. That's such a unique idea for this alien. And it just adds to they're screwed feeling before we even know what it's doing. Which is really cool. And that's why I don't feel like this movie is poorly paced. I'm just going to say, it takes an hour to get to the actual chest-bursting famous dinner scene. But I never feel that length when watching it. And I think that's because the characters are so well written, and they're interesting. The characters feel like genuine people with three-dimensional lives in this world outside of the movie. Like, they never feel like just stereotypes. Of course, the big star of this franchise is actress Sigourney Weaver, who plays Ellen Ripley. And she is an incredible actress. Just, I love how the first half of this movie, she doesn't stand out above everyone else. Everyone else is kind of on the same level of, any of them could rise above and become the main character or the survivor. She doesn't stand out until she needs to start taking charge because Tom Skerritt's character, Dallas, dies. And that's when she really starts, you know, becoming this main character fleshed out, and then we realize, and then, you know, she becomes our lead protagonist. She doesn't take charge till she has to, and when she does, she really comes into her own as a very tough, badass woman. And this was in the late 70s. There weren't a lot of women protagonists. I mean, not in this sense, not in these kind of movies. You know, Halloween, it was really the late 70s that started to come into its own with women, badass women protagonists. And it's also cool because she never, and this goes for even the next one, which I'll talk about more later, she never becomes macho man female or something, you know? She's perfectly realistic. This needs to get done. I need to be the one to get it done, or this needs to happen, so I'm going to help make this happen. We need to survive. We need to get out of here. Okay, I'm going to make this happen. And she's a real character. That's what makes this movie stand out and be still scary to this day, is the fact that these feel like real people, so I am connecting a lot more with these people than, like, say, characters in a random 80s slasher movie. I love the look of this movie, too. The opening, the way this film opens in space, and the letters slowly appear to spell out the title. And that was really cool. And then you just have that great score. Jerry Goldsmith, man, he had just done a few years before this the Omen soundtrack, which is another terrifying score. He does another really, really creepy horror score here, and it's really effective in enhancing this film. And it's perfectly, it adds a lot of atmosphere to this movie, and that's what makes this movie so interesting, and helps a lot with this movie in making it scary. And yeah, Jerry Goldsmith was a great composer. One of the rumors surrounding this movie is that the cast didn't know that the alien was going to burst out of a character's chest in this movie. And that's total BS, guys. I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm watching the behind the scenes features, and unless John Hurt is lying, which I doubt, I don't know what he would gain for a lie, especially years later. They knew. And then it makes no sense that they wouldn't know. It was in the script. They all read the script. The reason the reactions are very surprised, they're very good reactions, they didn't know how much blood was going to come out. So when Veronica Cartwright is being hit by all this blood and she's reacting, that's a legitimate reaction, because she didn't expect that much blood to nail her in the face. But yeah, she knew, they all knew that an alien was going to pop out of this guy's stomach. They had a rig set up, guys. It's a stupid rumor. It makes no sense. You'd have to be, I don't understand how they wouldn't know. It's a dumb, obviously false rumor about this movie, so yes, they all knew. And it's a very effective scene regardless, honestly. It's iconic. It's a scary scene, guys. Like, I love it. It's the perfect surprise, because if you're seeing this movie for the first time, you're still in the dark. You're not sure what's going on, you know. This thing has left this guy on its own. And you're like, okay, something's going to happen. You just don't know what. And then all of a sudden, he starts seemingly to start convulsing. And then he's laying on the table. And, you know, his chest is starting to move. And something pops out of his chest and blood spurts out. And then it's this creature that runs across the table. It's a scary scene. And it's really good. And then, of course, we get into it really quickly, sheds its skin. For instance, in the scene after the dinner scene, we have the characters split off trying to find this creature that they think is just a small little creature. And one of the characters, three of the characters, I should say, Sigourney Weaver, Yafet Kodo, Parker, and Brett, played by Harry Dean Stanton, find the cat. They think it's the alien, but it turns out it's just a cat coming up on this motion detector. And so Harry Dean Stanton, he goes after the cat, trying to get it. He ends up in this boiler room. It's a really creepy, cool location. And all you hear is this meow, meow, just off in the distance, just echoing in the room. He goes in there, and then all we see behind him is just this alien slowly rising. And this cat hisses, and then he turns around, and the alien gets him. And that scene is chilling. Another scene later on is when Tom Skerritt is going through the air ducts, and he's trying to push the alien out into an airlock to get rid of it. And all you really see for most of the scene, it's this little dot on a screen as it moves. You know, it's a motion tracker. And we see him moving, and then we all of a sudden see another dot moving slowly towards him. And that's really tense. And then it gets practically right on top of him. We don't know where he is. He freaks out. He goes onto another level, and then the alien pops out. You're just waiting for this creature to pop out, and it's so tense and terrifying. and then he just makes that one wrong move, and then he's gone. And oh my god, it's a really suspenseful scene. And then, if there weren't enough reveals already, we get another reveal that one of our characters is the enemy. One thing I need to mention about Ian Holm's acting in this movie is how just subtle it is. And how very much he plays it just at that perfect note throughout the movie until the big reveal. Because throughout the movie, we have little hints that something's not right with him, where he may not be human, necessarily. But they're not overt. We find out he is a plant, and he is an android that has basically been put there to get the alien back to Earth so that it can be studied and used as a bioweapon, possibly. You know, the crew is expendable, we find out. And the scene when he turns on Ripley, you slowly see him come sweating milk. And just coming apart, and it's the slow reveal, and I mean, like, that's a great idea. I love all these ideas they have for this movie, and they're executed so precisely and perfectly, and they're all interesting to watch be developed, and they never feel prolonged or poorly done, which is great. This movie excels at being a claustrophobic sci-fi horror movie in space. Alien is just one of the best sci-fi horror movies out there. And it still works almost 40 years later. The only other one that I can think of, at least off the top of my head, that rivals Alien is John Carpenter's The Thing. As far as scares, quality, and just being an all-around great movie. But as far as being a great horror movie, sci-fi horror movie about an alien or anything like that, I can't really think of any other one that hits this height of excellence and fun and terror. It's still a great movie, and it's still effective. Even when I rewatch it, and even when I know what's going to happen, it's still an effective movie. And that's what I appreciate so much about Alien. I love horror movies. I love movies like this, where it's just tension building throughout the whole film, and does that very well. These feel like real flesh and blood characters, as I already said. Feels like a real lived-in world, and that's very good about this movie. That's why I appreciate this movie so much, and I'm going to give this 5 stars. This is one of my all-time favorite movies, not just favorite horror movies, but all-time favorite movies. I love Alien. If you haven't seen it, check it out. And if you haven't seen it, but it's been a while, check it out again. It's a great movie. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Alien. Let me know what you think about Alien. And my review of Aliens will be coming up next. And I cannot wait to talk about Aliens. Anyways, those are my thoughts on Alien. Hope you enjoyed this review. Like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time.
Game over, man. It's game over.